balance isn't easy to attain for anybody. It doesn't matter who it is in what situation. Like balance isn't something that's easy to attain because life is constantly changing, right? It's constantly evolving. So you got to try to find balance in the midst of change, in the midst of constant change. So I think you know balance is something that everybody strives for, but very few people attain it because very few people establish priorities. And that's why um, the whole, I guess, theme of our podcast is the five pillars of life, which are faith, family, fitness, finances, and friendships, right? Having those five pillars of life and making sure that you prioritize those five areas of your life really gives you a structure and it gives you priorities as to where you should be investing your time and finding balance within those five areas of life. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Zamots podcast, where we focus on
faith,
family,
fitness,
finances, and friendships. Today, I'm going to be reading from 1 Corinthians chapter 6, verses 19 and 20. And it reads, "Do you not know that your bodies are temples of the Holy Spirit, who is in you, whom you have received from God? You are not your own. You were bought at a price. Therefore, honor God with your bodies." Amen.
Amen.
All right, family. So if you are new here,
welcome back.
If they're new here, we wouldn't say welcome back. If you are new here,
welcome.
If you're new here, welcome. If you're not new here, welcome back. For all of our new people, listen, every week we do a question game and we answer some questions from whatever game that we're playing that particular week. And it just gives you guys more insight as to who we are, what we represent, what we stand for, what we believe, our perspective. So this week we have two of them actually we're going to be answering questions from. So the first one is the couples deck. And then the second one is the couples deck, but the intimate version. Okay, so it's going to get a little spicy. So if you're not 18 or over, or if you're not mature, you can go ahead and end the video.
Go watch another video.
Yeah. All right. So let's start with the intimate one.
Okay.
We're gonna start with the intimate, and we're gonna each do two questions, and then we'll go on to the next one. So, yeah, you go first.
Hey y'all. Okay. Do you feel like I give you oral sex enough? Explain.
No, she doesn't. Explain or she doesn't. It's okay. That's my explanation.
It will never be enough. It will never be enough.
Okay. Next question. Oh, you
said explain.
I did explain. I said no, you don't.
That's the explanation?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, I don't put that down there.
Well, I guess I'm supposed to be answering that question.
Oh, okay.
I mean, you're supposed to be answering that question for me.
So answer it.
Do I give you oral sex enough?
No. Why? Because you just don't.
Well, hey. Okay. Next question. We're still in the intimate deck. It says using 5 words or less. What does my using 5 words or less? What does my orgasm face look like? 5 words or less.
5 words or less.
Uh-huh.
Okay. Ooh, hot tamale.
No, what does it look like?
Look like
using 5 words or less, what does my orgasm face look like?
Can I just do the faces?
No, we gotta use words. It's
ooh.
The words, babe. Using 5 or less.
Okay, you go first.
No, it's your turn. Oh,
okay.
That's difficult. All right, you want to do a different one?
What does my orgasm face look like?
Okay. No, let's do a different one.
No, because you don't want me to expose you.
No, it's not an expose. I don't have 5 words.
Well, we don't have to do 5 words. Let's just
5 words or less.
Okay, what's my word to like use 5 words? Ooh is a word.
How you spell it?
OU. Ooh.
Okay.
Sensational.
That's how my orgasm face looks.
It looks sensational. It looks intense. It looks relieved.
Sensationally, intensively relieved.
So let me do it in order. Intense.
Shit, they don't. They don't need the face. This is what is this?
Okay, what's mine?
I'm gonna say. I'm gonna have to say. I'm gonna have to say. Please. Relieved. And please relieved. And what else would I say? I would also say this is a challenge. Listen, please relieved and exhausted. That's a good one. Exhausted. Yeah. Please relieved and exhausted.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So those are the 2 questions we got from the intimate deck. Now we're gonna go to the just the connecting couples deck. So we're gonna choose 2 from here. Let's see what we got. First one.
From 1 to 10, how well do I handle disagreements? Explain your rating.
From 1 to 10, with me?
Yeah, it's a couples edition.
This is true. How well do you handle disagreements from 1 to 10? I'll give it about an 8.5. Yeah, you've grown. I get about 8.5. Just it takes a little time for you to get over how you feeling in the moment, and then you can be reasonable. So I'll give it about an 8.5. Yeah, yeah, that's my explanation.
Okay, so for you, I give you about an 8.
How can mine be lower than yours?
Exactly, just like that. We about to start right now.
I ain't about to start. I just asked the question.
Explain. Because when we have a disagreement, my husband, he is very firm on what he believes and what he thinks. So it may be a disagreement, but it's not a disagreement on his end because he feels as though what he is saying is correct. And he's going to go above and beyond to make sure that you understand his perspective and why his perspective is correct. So that's why I give you an 8. Yeah, babe. Like you'll see my perspective. So this is basically how I go. You see my perspective. You see what I'm saying, and you see the truth in it. Mm-hmm. But you don't be studying none of that. You be like, okay, well, let me make sure that you understand my point. Understand what I'm saying. Understand like this is why I'm saying this, or this is why this is that way, or this is why that is that.
So that's true.
We're very stern on it.
Yeah, that's true.
So it makes disagreements feel as though it's not really a disagreement because you're not necessarily really seeing what, like, you're seeing what I'm saying, but you're seeing what I'm saying with hopes that you can convince me.
No, see, that part isn't true. But I don't try to convince people to believe what I believe. I don't do that.
You don't try to.
I'm firm in my beliefs. I don't need you to believe it. So
yeah, okay. So you don't need me to believe it, but the way that you are, like that's how it comes off. It comes off as that. And you naturally do it. Like it's not like, oh, I need you to believe what I'm believing, and that's just that. Is that you believe firmly in what you think and what you believe, that you're going to press the issue, you're going to press your point as much as possible until you're like, okay, all right, I said my piece, I said what I had to say.
Yeah.
But it's very much so like, no, you gonna hear this perspective and you're gonna understand it completely as to why I think like this or why I don't agree with what
Oh
you're
yeah,
saying.
absolutely. All of that is true.
So that's why I say it's an 8, because if it was with somebody that didn't know you or somebody that like is like a stranger, that's gonna be a heated argument. Like
Yeah.
it's not just gonna go as like a disagreement, like how like us, me and you can talk in. Okay, I ended like, okay, we just gonna agree to disagree. Because we can go back and forth all day. Because honestly, I'm the same way. Except like I just be trying to get him to see like what I'm saying, and since he is a philosopher, he's gonna pull out all the facts. He's gonna tell you about the statistics and all this. And he's not somebody necessarily be in books, but with stuff that he's like firm about, he gonna know for sure. Okay, next one.
I don't like that answer.
Well, it's the truth.
I don't believe so.
Hey, you see what I'm saying? Why don't you believe so? Here.
I don't believe so.
No, you don't have to believe so.
Okay. Next question. Oh, let me pull it. It's my turn. Let's see what we got. I don't want that one. Try to choose my card. Okay. It says, which of my qualities do you think would make me or makes me a
We already
great?
did that one.
Yeah, we did. Okay, so hold on. We set that one off to the side. What's one thing you wish we did more of as a couple? Explain.
But Andre, go on dates.
Go on dates. Yeah, I was gonna say the same thing.
But it's isn't like we don't be going on dates, but we really don't be going on dates.
We don't go on as much as we would want to go on. I mean, we have good reason. We do have children, and we don't have a
solid baby.
Solid caregiver.
I mean, now on weekends we do, but
Yeah,
the priorities has changed for that. So
yeah. So, all right, that's it for the questions, y'all. We about to get into the pod. All right, family, we back. We back. We back. Listen, my wife says she has a topic for us to discuss, so I'm gonna go ahead and hand over the reins to her. Go ahead, sweetheart.
Thank you, Jimmy.
What you got for her?
Hey, y'all. Again. Okay, this is what I got. First, I gotta tell a story, okay? So, basically, I'm that person that's looked at as like super, just super mom, super wife, super girl, super woman, okay?
Super fun.
Super fun. So, at work, okay, a coworker calls me superwoman a lot. And I be real modest, I'm like, no, don't call me that, don't call me that. And then something within me was like, yeah, I see why she called me superwoman, because I balance a lot. It's a lot of stuff that I balance, that I do it quite well, I feel like. So that's the topic for this week, is balancing life, and balancing life like with like different stories, like for instance, we are married with kids, there are people that are single with kids, there are people just single, there are people married with no kids, so it's like to give perspective on those different aspects of balance in life. Yeah, so I'm gonna ask this question, and it's gonna be a great topic.
Can't wait.
What category? No, what? I'm sorry, not what category. Who do you think has it harder when it comes to balancing life?
Like out of who?
Out of a married couple with children, a single mother, a single person just single,
Mm-hmm.
and then a married couple with no children.
Who do I think has it harder
Mm-hmm.
in terms of balance? Well, um, okay. So just in my personal opinion,
Mm-hmm.
the obvious answer for me would be a married couple with children. I think they would have it the hardest.
Yeah. And that was a topic that I was having with one of my friends. I was like, that is a great topic that me and John are going to be talking about on our podcast, and we hit on it here and there, but we haven't
Mm-hmm.
actually went into depth
Mm-hmm.
of it because I feel like most of the time, like single parents are highlighted as having the hardest task of balancing life. And granted, it is harder on them because they're doing it alone. But also the other thing that we're talking about were people that co-parent.
Mm-hmm.
So for instance, one of my friends co-parent with the father whenever he acts right,
Mm-hmm.
and she gets a month free of not having her kids,
Mm-hmm.
or a week free, or a time period when they're at school and she has that time to herself.
Mm-hmm.
So although those beginning stages may be a little bit more difficult, like when you're married, it it don't turn off.
Yeah.
Like there is no, oh well, you're gonna have the kids for this weekend type
Right,
stuff.
right,
Like
right, right.
we live together, like our fam,
It's
like
nonstop.
yeah, it's nonstop. So why
Yep.
why would you say that married people have it harder, as far as having to balance everything?
Well, I think they just have more responsibility, right? You
Mm-hmm.
don't just have the responsibility of your children. Excuse me. You don't just have the responsibility of your children. You got the responsibility of your marriage, which is your relationship with your partner, and then you also have, the responsibility of you guys' friendship as well, making sure y'all are still friends and still, communicating about things other than the family or the kids. You know what I mean? Um, so I think it's just more responsibility for people that are married with children. They have to manage um, they have to manage more things
Yeah.
or more people or more situations than somebody who's single, or single with kids or married with no kids, right? Granted, I could say that it's equally as challenging to balance
Yeah.
for
Each party
every
most definitely
situation.
has its like challenges and
Yeah,
struggles.
yeah.
Like it's
All of them
not,
have their
none of them
challenges.
is easy,
Yeah,
but
balance isn't easy to attain for anybody. It doesn't matter who it is in what situation. Like balance isn't something that's easy to attain because life is constantly changing, right? It's constantly evolving. So you got to try to find balance in the midst of change, in the midst of
mm-hmm.
constant change. So I think you know balance is something that everybody strives for, but very few people attain it because very few people establish priorities. And that's why um, the whole, I guess, theme of our podcast is the five pillars of life, which are faith, family, fitness, finances, and friendships. Right? Having those five pillars of life, and making sure that you prioritize those five areas of your life really gives you a structure, and it gives you priorities as to where you should be investing your time and finding balance within those five areas of life. Right? If somebody doesn't have, you know, we'll just use those five examples. Somebody doesn't have that those foundations or that foundation, then they're still trying to figure out what their priorities are.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Is the priorities to go and make money? Is it to please my partner? Is it to be trying to start a family? Is it, building a business? Is it like their priorities are all over the place? So when you don't have solid priorities and you don't have a structure as to where you should be investing most of your time or
Mm-hmm.
trying to create balance in that area, then it makes it a little bit more difficult. So establishing a good foundation of priorities is, I think, extremely important. It doesn't matter if you're, like I said, single, married, married with kids, single with kids, whoever. right? You got to establish those priorities as your foundation, and then you can work from there.
Yeah, so that's honestly like well said. I think that most of the time, like, yeah, I hear a lot like, oh, like, you have somebody come home to, or like you have somebody that like to help you with the kids if you're doing bath time, or if you're, putting them down to sleep, or it's time for them to eat and stuff like that. And pretty much I broke it down like this. I said you have to really like think about it and put it in perspective. First of all, we're young, okay? So we're at a place where we're building, so both of us work. So whenever he's not working, I'm working. Whenever I'm not working, he's working. We work opposing schedules. Then when we're off, we have to make time for our children separately because we have to build that relationship with them without both of us being together, and then we have to
Mm-hmm.
build that relationship as a family, and then we have to build our relationship and
Yeah.
our marriage, and then we have to find time to build each other individually, like our alone time, and then still have to try to balance friends and family outside of our household.
Mm-hmm.
So that balancing, when you become married and when you have a family, those things that will once just one or two things now become 5 to 10 things,
Mm-hmm.
especially when you have more than one kid. Like it just continues to add to add to add, which is why most of the time, like, people that are married, I mean, people that have kids and that are single, they were at some point trying to create a family, and it was that family didn't work out because they didn't find the balance in that, because it
Mm-hmm.
is not something easy to do. Like
Yeah.
couples that are together for years, like I'm not talking about 5, 6 years, I'm talking about 15, 20 years and still haven't learned how to balance all of it. Like you'll
Mm-hmm.
see that relationship where parenthood they thrive, but yet their relationship and their marriage suffers
Mm-hmm.
because they found no balance in that.
Yeah.
And when you're raising a family, especially when you're married, you have to first find a foundation and find a balance in your marriage. You can't correctly parent and be on the same page if you think that, you know, your marriage needs to be the last thing just because you have kids, or just because you guys are in a relationship now. Of course it's always God first. He's the head, he's the foundation of everything. Honestly, you can't start any type of balancing act if God isn't the head for
Mm-hmm.
both of you guys, or the
Mm-hmm.
head of your house if you're single. Whatever your situation is, you have to first have God first, and then go from you know adding God within both of you guys,
Mm-hmm.
like in your relationship, and then also like still dating, still loving on each other, still, you know, building and working on each other. Like you change day to day, we year to year, month to month. Like you change so much when you're in a relationship and when you're in a marriage, that balancing act, like the more kids we have, like the more kids that we are having, we're constantly have to shift how we balance.
Mm-hmm.
How we balance life with Noel is different from how we balance life when we got Naomi. It's
No,
gonna be
that's good
different
though.
from how we balance life when baby boy's here. Like it's a constant shift. But because I think at it early on, like especially because we get mentorship and we just come across a lot of people, and that's our first, like, well, if he's away from me, that's the first question and he asks married people. First question that I ask married people when we're together, that's the first thing we ask people. Like if we get stopped or we're talking to a couple, that's the first thing, because wisdom is power, you know. So asking them like, what, what's the biggest advice that you give a younger couple, and how do you sustain being married and happy
Mm-hmm.
and whole and raising a family for 65 plus years?
Mm-hmm.
Because it's
Mm-hmm.
very easy to come out of that honeymoon phase within the first year.
Yeah.
We get told that we're in a honeymoon phase and we've been together for 6 years. Like
Just
that's a minute. It's not.
still feels like 6 weeks.
It don't.
It did to me.
No, but it still feels fresh. But when we start to like think about the time, we like, dang, like I've been kicking with you for a little second.
It's been a little minute.
It's been a little minute, but it's because we constantly like refreshing like him. just today, randomly, do I satisfy you sexually? Like, just random questions like that. Or like, just random questions we be
That's a
asking each
good
other.
question.
It's a good question because your body changes over time with having kids. Your body changes as a woman. Your body changes as a man. So just asking those questions and keeping it fresh is like, oh, dang, you really care, you know?
Yeah,
So,
yeah. I think for it's funny because I was just talking to when I was working yesterday. I was just talking to a guy that told me him and his wife had been married for 8 years. So the first thing I asked him, it's like, excuse me, listen, we juicing y'all,
I knew you was gonna
okay?
put that in
we juicing
there.
y'all, okay? So this fresh, this is watermelon juice, okay? This fresh juice right here is working in me. So that's all that my phlegm is coming up because it's working in me. Okay, this is good stuff. So anyway, I was talking to the gentleman, and he said him and his wife have been married for 8 years. So typical. I just asked him, what's some advice he would give me. He just said communication, and making sure that as a man you drop your ego. You're not always right. Make sure you listen in, and just do your best to be on the same page. And I was like, okay, cool. And that's the most common advice that I think we get is number one, communication. Number two, it's like make sure that you guys are friends, right? You still,
Never stop dating.
yeah, never stop dating. You keep your friendship. Make sure you keep your relationship fresh. And then I would say number three would be to what would number three be? We got communication, never stop dating, keep dating each other. And number three, oh, respecting each other, like respecting each other's boundaries, respecting each other's opinions, respecting each other's advice. I think that's huge as well, right? Because once you lose somebody's respect, or once somebody's lost your respect, like it's a wrap. Once respect is out the window, it's a wrap. Like everything is free game after that, right? So we're always looking to get advice from married couples who have been married for a long time, to better strengthen our marriage, right? We haven't even been married a year yet. We've been together 6 years, right? Which is crazy, but we haven't been married a full year yet. But I don't think anything changes from like not being married and being married. Like somebody giving you a document saying that you're married, or us just verbally saying that we married. I don't know. I don't feel the difference.
I
You
don't
feel the
feel like
difference?
it's a difference.
It's
Like
legal now.
that's the first thing everybody's asking. I'm
Yeah.
like, it feels the same. Like
It feels the same. We've
nothing
established
different.
a covenant. We understand that it's a covenant. We've established it now. Like it's firm. It's in writing. However, like in my eyes, we've been
We had
married.
already
Yeah.
intimately did that, like without going to the courthouse. Like
Right.
that had been established like before Noel was even born.
Right.
So to us, we were married. That promise was between us and God. That covenant had already been created.
Yeah.
Now us taking the legal steps, the Americanized way to go to the courthouse and to actually get the paperwork to legally say that I'm married, to make sure that our house is in order. Like God forbid, but if anything was to happen to me and him, we're in right standing, and I don't be standing, oh yeah, I'm his fiance, you his girlfriend.
Right.
Like you a little hookup.
Yeah. In the eyes of the
Regardless if
law,
you
y'all
got kids or
just
something.
dating.
Yeah.
Y'all
So
just dating.
it's certain things that as a man and as a woman, well really I would say more from a man perspective, that has to be in order for your household to run. And getting that paper, people, oh, it's just a piece of paper, it's just a piece of paper.
No, but it's important.
But it's important.
It's important.
Because you have to adjust to the society that we live in. And that piece of paper matters. That if something was to happen, that either way, like the family, him or me, would be taken care of, and our children would be taken care of. And that's the most important thing.
100%.
To put that as number one.
100%. 100%.
So I got a question for you.
What's up, boo?
Okay, so what advice would you give a single person trying to balance just life in general? Like think back to when you were single and
trying to balance life. Like, what do you mean trying to balance life?
Just, like I think more so for our viewers, like the single crowd is more so, I'm not necessarily looking to have a family or a husband right now, but when it comes, I want to be ready. What is like some advice that you would tell them that they need to be doing in this time period,
Mm-hmm.
or just something to help them with learning how to balance life itself right now,
Yeah, I would say continue to work on
and
you.
you're like in their singlehood.
Yeah, continue to work on you. Right? As long as you continue to develop yourself and you try to get better in the areas where you see deficiencies, once you do have that partner, you do find that partner, y'all do connect, y'all decide to establish a family, um, you're going to be more equipped as an individual to be a good partner. I was working on myself heavily before I got into a relationship, right? Working on my mindset, working on my work ethic, working on my habits. I was working on those things before I got into a relationship. And I was preparing to have a family before I had a family, years before I had a family, just working on myself, getting my mind mentally ready for, what's to come. So in life, you get what you expect, right? So when you expect things to happen, when you expect to have a family, when you expect to meet the woman of your dreams or the man of your dreams, when it comes into your life, you're not really shocked by it, but you should be prepared,
Mm-hmm.
right? There's a quote that goes, um, what's the quote? Says
I
when
don't
when
know.
when opportunity comes, there's only two things that can happen. You can either be prepared for the opportunity or the opportunity will expose you, right? Something along those lines, right? So you could be prepared or you could be exposed. Okay, so again, it just goes back to you being prepared for what it is that you expect to come. All right. So for somebody that's single and eventually you want to be married, eventually you want to have children, then you should just continue to work on yourself and expect that one day you will be married and you will have children. And by that time, you would have developed yourself into the person that you should be, in order to be married. I just learned something. The word husband comes from the word husbandry,
Mm-hmm.
which is a farming term, right? And husbandry means to cultivate, right? It means to cultivate, to grow, to build up, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's what husbandry means. So men, I'm talking to the men. If you want to be a husband, you got to first become a husband before you're a husband, right? Which
Mm-hmm.
you got to learn how to cultivate. You got to understand what it is to sacrifice, what it is to put another person's needs before yours, before you want to consider yourself a husband.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And for women, I can't speak from that perspective. Well, I could, but it wouldn't necessarily be 100% received because I'm not a
Yeah.
woman.
I can touch on that topic a little bit. I feel as though a lot of times women feel like they're naturally, oh, I'm ready to be a wife. I'm wifey material. Like he needs to wife me this, that, and third. But yet you haven't worked on yourself and you don't know the first thing it is to submitting and sacrificing. And I feel like that is something that I see in women today a lot. It's more so, what can you do for me? What will you do for me? Like the moment that it gets hard and the moment that, things are not ideal in how society paints that a relationship and a marriage should be or what a man should be. Um, a lot of women aren't ready for marriage. Me personally, I feel like a lot of single people that I do know are nowhere close to being ready for marriage because they struggle with balancing life as a single person. If you're struggling balancing life and it's just you, imagine trying to balance life, you and a spouse, and then
Mm-hmm.
you and children. You're gonna lose it, or that foundation isn't gonna be solid. Like your foundation as an individual has to be solid. Your partner's foundation as an individual has to be solid. Then when you come together, two solid foundations make even a firmer foundation.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're single and you keep hearing you need to work on yourself, or you're in and out of relationships and you can't stay in a relationship, well, it takes two. So yes, that person that you may have like hooked up with or got with may not have like, well, clearly wasn't for you, but also it was some things in you too that didn't make the relationship work.
Mm-hmm.
Like of course, sometimes it's just a complete toxic situation. Sometimes dudes do be completely toxic, but also women do too. Like it's an expectation that, like I heard, I saw this video and this girl was like, it was dude asking, like, interviewing, was asking a bunch of girls, and he was like, so what do you expect for a man to bring to the table? Like, how much do you expect him to make? Like, what's your expectations, like,
Mm-hmm.
financially? Because that's a big topic that a lot of people avoid.
Mm-hmm.
So she was like, he needs to make 50K a day. No, he needs to make 10K a day.
Mm.
And the interviewer was like, 10K a day.
She got expensive habits.
So he goes, well, what are you bringing to the table that you expect him to bring 10K to the door?
That part.
I mean, make 10K a day.
Yeah.
10K a day, he can go buy what he wants.
Right.
Like, he can buy the female he wants. Like, money talk, especially in today's society.
Mm-hmm.
Money talk.
Mm-hmm.
Certain females will do absolutely anything for a change. Like, they don't have to work. They don't have to do nothing. They're going to do whatever you say, compromise their happiness, whatever, for some change.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, she was like, I bring my iPad, I bring my phone, I bring my looks, I bring me. Do you not see all of this? And I'm like, that's the mentality that will keep you single, that will keep you alone, that will keep you rehearsing these verses that female rappers are putting in your head that says, okay, I don't need a man, I make my own bag, I make my own bag, I don't need a man for this. I don't know why this generation feel like there's something that's just like, okay, round of applause. Like, yes, I will give you a cookie that you are a female that's, chasing your dreams and you're making financial income for yourself and you don't have to depend on anyone else, but to take away the fact that you don't need a man and that a man is not supposed to provide, y'all can keep that.
Yeah.
You can keep that. And those be the main people that are single or that be in toxic relationships or that are in relationships with men that are just going to do the bare minimum because you keep reminding this man that you make your own money, you don't need him.
Mm-hmm.
You keep saying that he's going to show you, like, okay, I'm not about to do any of this extra stuff because you really don't need me but for one thing.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And as a man, as sexual as men are, they need more than just sex. Like, you have to fulfill a man on every level, and especially, like, the man perspective is just to lead and to nurture and to, like you said, create an environment and provide. And if you are with a female that don't know how to do that, or is constantly walking like walking into her masculinity as if she is still single,
Mm-hmm.
then you're gonna be single for the rest of your life. Like, not to speak negative, but
It's the
that's
truth.
that's the truth. You're gonna be in and out of relationships. Like, I feel like it's like mind blowing when I come across somebody that's like 70, 80 years old and ain't never been married, ain't never been in a solid relationship, got 12 different baby daddies. Like, that was a you problem. That was something that you needed to work out. And when people kept telling you need to work on yourself and you, oh, I'm all right, I'm okay. That, to me, that's a result of somebody that avoided the signs of when you were single and when you were in a relationship, you didn't do those necessary things. And that goes male and female.
Yeah. I think before we come to our conclusion, I just want to say that I think women that speak the words "I don't need a man," I think they being tricked by the enemy.
No, for sure.
To be honest, they being tricked by the enemy because that's a lie. Okay, you walking down the street and you see another man and he's coming towards you walking real fast. He looks aggressive. At that moment, you know in your head that you need a man to help protect you. Right now, you may be able to handle yourself, but you're physically not as strong as a man. The weakest man, you're physically not as strong. Right. So, but that's just one example of you needing a man, right, to protect you. That's just one example. But there are other reasons for a woman needing a man, right? It doesn't matter how much money you make. It doesn't matter how emotionally intelligent you are. As a woman, you do need a man, and as a man, you do need a woman, right? You see, partnerships is the greatest thing ever, right? It's so it's a reflection of our God likeness, right? So the fact that we're able to be in partnerships and it makes us stronger as a unit, right? We become one, and it makes us stronger. We're able to build something that we could never build by ourselves. That's a reflection of our God likeness, right? And you say, well, how? Because God needed us for connection, right? He created us for connection. You think about it, he's God, right? God doesn't need anything, right? He's an almighty God. So why would God create humans? It doesn't make any sense. Well, for connection. God made humans for connection. So we're able to connect with God. That's fulfilling, right? But when we're able to connect with other people, that's a reflection of our God likeness, right? It fulfills us to be able to connect with other people and to be able to grow and build something that we otherwise would not have been able to build if we were single. So those women saying that they don't need men, you being tricked by the enemy. That's a lie, right? You do need
Or
a
women
man.
that don't, or men that don't want to commit to being with one
That
woman
too.
or marriage or
Yeah.
just a relationship
That
in
too.
general. Like,
Yeah. The
oh,
man.
what I need to be with her for? What I need to marry her for? What I
Yeah,
need
you
to.
being tricked by the enemy too, brother. I mean, you don't want to settle down. You don't want to commit because you want to be free, right? You want to sow your royal oats. Listen, that's soul ties, right? The more people you out here sleeping with, the more women you out here and engaging with, all of that comes back to bite you, right? It messes with you psychologically, right? You may not see it year, 5 years, 10 years, but later on in your life, you're gonna see how it messes with you psychologically, right? People that live a life that is more on the pure side, meaning they don't involve themselves in too many toxic relationships, too many sexual endeavors. People that live their life like that don't have as many problems, right? Because once you bring sex into the picture, once you bring those intimate relationships into the picture, and you don't have pure intentions, it creates a bunch of different problems, like having babies out of wedlock and having baby mama drama or baby father drama, right? That is a headache. That's a lifelong headache, and nobody wants that problem. Okay, so that being said, is there anything else that you like to say, sweetheart?
Let me see. Let me think.
She always says no, and then she says something. So it's she got something else to say. I'm gonna say I appreciate y'all. We love y'all.
Don't say that. If I got something to say, you doing the outro.
I retract my statement.
Thank you. This is what I gotta say. Whether you are, whatever your status is, first things first, put God first. That's first. Second thing, work on yourself. Continue to work on yourself. That is something that you will be doing for the rest of your life. I promise you. It's nothing this stops. It's like every time you feel like you've conquered something, something else is like, yeah, you need to work on it. Like it's always something, not a negative thing, married people work on your relationship so that you're properly able to pour into your children, to pour into each other, then to pour into yourself, then to pour into your friends and family. Single people, work on yourself. You're going to hear that until you're no longer breathing. Like that, but that's everybody though. People that are married without children, work on your marriage. You built that foundation. It starts now. We don't have another, life to be responsible for. Love on each other, just grow each other, push each other, work on yourself, and yeah, that's all I have to say. That life is a big balancing beam. It's a huge balancing beam, but I wouldn't want to balance no life with nobody else but you.
Yeah, that's the truth.
That's the truth.
Love you.
I love you, sweetie.
All right, y'all.
All right, y'all.
We love y'all. We appreciate y'all. Like, comment, subscribe, share.
Turn on that post
turn on
notification.
post notifications.
That's my part. You
Oh,
have
my
to
bad.
say my part.
Yeah. Oh, my bad.
Turn on that post notification so you can notify every single time we post.
We appreciate y'all. Let love fill your heart, family. Peace.
Peace and blessings. Bye.